but the point is that um, treatment is good, but there will be many underreported environments or communities because, especially when it comes to mental health, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, right? There's the shame, the guilt, just the stigma of mental health. People will not want to talk about it. So my best way to approach it is to do prevention. Have a lot of preventative programs. The programs could be just talk about the negative effect of preventative program could be just talk about the negative effect of drugs, the negative effect of alcohol, but also create a condition where in people who are bringing in drugs and alcohol into the country have heavy punishments for bringing in drugs and alcohol in the country. So you create condition where in whether it's the department, the Ministry of Justice or the DEA or whoever is enforcing that component of it to make sure that drug drug cartels are not allowed to bring things in the country, and if they bring it in the country and they are caught, they be dealt with heavily. That's the way to reduce the number of people who use the drugs. Then you are extinguishing the drug use by taking away the drug in the, that is not entering the country. You understand the situation? Because when we go to the point, and I see that a lot of times on the talk shows and other things, people just record something. You go to panel building, you record 10, 15, 20 people who are drug druggies and the rest of it, and they got some names. I don't like to use citizens of my country. That is for me demeaning as a professional. But they go there and just want to take a recording and go say, oh, we went to the place, we carried food, and the people ate something. It's all about money making. It's not about providing real services to our people. So what I'm saying is that let's prevent it. And the other piece that's happening is that government has said that the issue of drugs, the issue of mental health is public enemy number one. And public enemy number one means that there's an epidemic. You have set up a multi-sectoral committee. Let the committee start to work. Let the committee make sure that those things that need to be brought on board to make things happen are brought on board. And some of the resources, like John Bear used to say way back, includes bringing in, some of the resources include bringing in professionals who will do the job. But if you're not doing that, you don't expect to get results that are different. In psychology, we say that doing the same thing and expecting a different result is madness, it's insanity. And what we're doing right now, we're not doing anything to help alleviate the drug challenge in the country. We're not doing anything to help bring about, except for those smaller efforts that are being made. But as a national effort, we're not doing something that will bring about the reduction, if you may, because elimination is something that is practically not workable anywhere on earth, but reducing it massively. We're not doing anything to do that. And we go around saying every day, oh, like, bro, is again, I come back to what I was saying from the very beginning. Like, bro, is behind time, like, bro, is negative. The situation in our country is bad of and other thing. Who will make like, bro, better off? If not us. The Ghanaians didn't wait for different people to make Ghana better off. Nigerians not waiting for a different people to make Nigeria better off. The Rwandese. And I like to use the situation in Rwanda. When we were were at the peak of our war in 1994, The Rwandan war was also going on. Today we have Liberians leaving our country going to Rwanda for education. So there has to be, unfortunately, there has to be a national will to make this thing happen. Because people don't even have money to do the physical health thing. Then you bring about mental health. The next thing that will happen is that people will start taking their relatives who are on drugs and other things, who have emotional challenges and other things, taking them to the churches. And when they go to the church, the pastor does not have the capacity. He's not trained or she's not trained as a mental health professional. I lost friends who were taken to pastors. And I'm a Christian, hardcore Christian. But I lost friends who were taken to pastors in the early 2000s when they were sick, when they should have been taken to the hospital. Yes, let them be treated. Jesus Christ is the one that does the healing, but he uses professionals to treat the individuals and he does the healing. That's what happens. Unfortunately, with the drug and mental health challenge in our country, until we treat it, our country will continue to be going down the way it is going. That's why you will make somebody a minister and he goes to become a minister or she goes to become a minister and then want to steal in a stewardship position. How can you be leading a group of people you want to be looking different, better off than the group of people that you're leading? One reasons why the people like this country, the United, the United States, is because the country likes to look after its own people. I was in a conversation with, and most of my former professors and teachers from middle school to high school to college were Ghanaians. Even when Ghana had all of the challenges in the 1970s and the 80s, they always have one statement: we Ghanaians are the best. How many Liberians can say that about Liberia? As a human friend and Buster are getting to know you. Many times, once our friend has had the education or got the accolade and other things, we Liberians, we will be the first people to undermine that particular person's growth and development, that crep mentality. And I always say this: we go to Nigeria, we learn how to speak like Nigerians. We go to Cote d'Ivoire, we learn how to speak like the Ivorians. We come to America, we're speaking Siri. When will somebody come learn how to speak like Liberian too?
I tell you.
So it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing for us to look at the challenges and say, I don't need to like Peter Paul. I don't need to like Peter Paul, but because of his capacity, especially when that's a professional position or professional functioning, because of his capacity, let me hire him. All of us, most of us, I'm not talking about those in Liberia right now, but we who are here, who have been here for 25 plus years in this country, when we go look for a job, they don't ask you for your name, or they didn't look at your resume and look at your name first. They look at what you are able to do. Yes, they have their own way of doing subtle segregation and the rest of it, but they will prefer Americans doing the job. And that's why they encourage us to become permanent residents and or citizens of this country. So make Liberians want to go back home. It is psychotherapists in this case, and the mental health we're talking about, and drug and alcohol abuse we're talking about. If they're psychotherapists, if they're psychologists, if they're psychiatrists, if they're licensed drug and alcohol counselors, Encourage them to go back home. Pay them heavily. If you're looking for teachers and other things, you don't want to bring Nigerians and Ghanaians back home, back to Liberia. Pay the Liberians who are trained to go back to their country. Everybody does not want to be the representative. Everybody does not want to be senator. Everybody does not want to be minister either. When our old people were working in Lofa and Nimba and Bong and Cape Mine and the rest of it, they were not ministers, but they were able to take care of us, their children.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a country that treats its people as second-class citizens. You have a country that when you qualify, you go to that country, the people in the country don't want to talk to you. And the leaders don't want to protect those individuals from going back home or encourage those individuals to go back home. And it becomes a cliche when they say, oh, we want Liberians from the diaspora to come home. And when they say it with one side of their mouth, on the other side of their mouth, they're not acting it. Then you have a lot of issues going on, man. And that's the
Just a
reason
talking
why
point.
the mental health challenge continues to grow up. And as with the point you raised just now, how can you massively go about rehabilitating a country when we have bulk of the people in our mental health or in our health system are just physical health professionals? They're not mental health professionals, and the mental health professionals are being scared away because they don't speak the same language that those who have been given positional authorities got. The thing, if you call me a psychotherapist, the first thing in my mind will want to be a minister. If you call me a teacher, a college lecturer, you think I want to go just be jumping up and down all around the place? The government has to be willing to put its money where its mouth wants to go. Unfortunately, we have not yet gotten to that point.
That, that's a very good point you stressed, Pisan. And I use the doctor planning and every response. Let people know that my yeah, yeah. Pisan, you stress a
Yes,
very
sir.
um and what you stress affects the entire body of our developmental growth. Okay, now um professionals come up with great ideas and let it go. Once the professional for abroad or whatever come up with great ideas and it reaches to Monrovia, that's the point I've contend I've heard from a lot of other people. When this thing hits Monrovia, those in position knows that yes, this is something that we need in order to alleviate this mental health crisis or in order to alleviate such a problem. But instead of doing the right thing, like they will frustrate the producers, qualify, and then they will take those ideas and try to implement it to fail because Dr. Singh, let me tell you, I don't know anything so much, but I just let me give you an example of you. Let's say you come up with something, an invention,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And you say, oh, I got this plan to invent this thing or do this thing towards mental health, okay? Now you put your mind, your soul, and your learning into it and send it. Instead of them bringing Dr. Singh, they will take that paper, maybe try to implement it, but they are not the creators. They are not the actual creators of it. So that program will never achieve its desired result, yeah? Because The original progenitors of those ideas are not there. Like you said, you don't have to be minister or so. You can even just be a consultant, yes, because you know what you put up people. You can train the people to implement those things. Doing it with at least make the person a consultant if you want your ministerial position. The person you want your ministerial position, make the person a consultant so that the desired objective can be achieved. So the government then, while gathering from you, is a problem. We Liberians are a problem. But let me just digress a little now. I want to say something. This may be brilliant. I don't know how I'll call it drug abuse because it affects Liberians in the diaspora. When I say it affects Liberia in the diaspora, you see, Pamela Singman, we're two partners. Maybe you don't know Buster, but this guy the other day he shared with me his birthday picture. You're very right. So I'm gonna go to the park. I'm going to meet the young Liberian youths. You remember Pamela?
Yeah, yeah.
We used to meet them where they gather to get their ideas and to talk to them. And one of them told me, and Pamela, straight up, yeah, I'm a drug dealer, eh?
Yeah, that's
Something
what he
like that.
said.
Yeah, something of
In
that sort.
Central Park and Brooklyn Park. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And he said, I fell by the wayside and I got a record in the system. It affected my job. I can't get a job because I got a criminal record. So I sell drugs. There was another kid who would come there. I think he was a leader of the group or the groups, but he would come from work in
Mm-hmm.
his yellow jacket, vest.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I work and I do everything, but I also use. So I want you to look at the diaspora situation of the Liberian youth too. Okay. It's not as bad at all because they got jobs. Most of them got jobs. They work here in America, but they find themselves sometimes. So this drug business now, I want you to come to the diaspora a little bit, if you may,
Yeah.
just to
If
say
you
something about it.
if,
You know.
and
And one
again,
thing I would like to
everything
say,
has to do
remember,
with. Go ahead.
let me not remember what the kid used to tell us. They used to say why they from what I gather, they greatly appreciate us going to them and talking to them. But they always used to say, now I see the same dichotomy with the leadership in Liberia and our leaders here. Not everybody. I don't want to be head of the Liberian Association (OLM) in Minnesota. But this case used to tell us, say, we know your more. If the OLM president come here right now, my brother, we know him. They don't reach out to us. They don't know our problems. So I want you to speak to those kind of things that affects the diaspora kid in line with the same deaf ear that leadership here is placing on those problems and leadership there. Sorry, my question is long and winded, but peace and it.
Yeah, no, it's good that you talk about days, and it's good because the point is that whether the leadership is on the home front or in the diaspora, whether the diaspora is the near diaspora or the far diaspora, like we are in the far diaspora, because we in the United States, the near diaspora could be people in Ghana, people in Nigeria and other places on the continent. We have to understand one thing. Positions are not meant to be permanent. Change is the only thing that is permanent in our lives. So, like the guys used to tell us as when we used to go to the park at Central Park in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota during the summer. The boss would say, "Yeah, we hope that the leaders will be coming to us and having conversation with us." So for me, what it tells me is that these people have not given up on leadership. They are yearning for leaders to show up. And people need to understand, we who find ourselves in leadership functionalities, whether it's positional leadership or proximity leadership, we need to take advantage of those leadership roles that we have in the lives of the children. When that young man told me that he was a druggie, and I mean, you told us, that he was a druggie, and I say, it doesn't sound too good. Then he says, what do you want me to call myself? A dispenser? And I told him, what if you call yourself a dispenser? Would it mean anything negative? He says, the only difference is that we're still selling the same weed, but the dispenser has a license. Since Minnesota is uh, how do we call it, recreational
Recreation,
drug
illegal
state.
recreation.
You know, so I told him no, but it won't make you different from the other guy because you guys are still doing the same thing. But it will make you legal, and gradually you could stop getting out of it because what you're doing. And also, if you read more about the effect of drugs on the psychology, on the brain, on the emotions of the person who's using the drug, especially if they're using it to abuse it, it will help you to start taking different directions. We have to continue those conversations in our communities. Those conversations with those young people have and not just young people, but with those individuals. It will be with young people for now. They got some older people who thinking like the same young people. So we need to start those conversations. We need to work on those conversations as we go about with all the things that we want to do.